everyone, Josh Culler here with Culler Media, back with another episode of Content Tips. So, content tip of the week. Today I'm going to talk about thumbnails, so video thumbnails more specifically. So if you put any YouTube videos out there, so if you have a YouTube channel or if you have a Facebook page where you put videos out consistently and it's your pillar content primarily, you want to make sure you have good thumbnails, good video thumbnails. So I'm going to go through with you a couple reasons. First of all, why it's important to have thumbnails, and then what to look for when having a good thumbnail, and then how to actually make it. So one of the things I want to tell you about first is that you don't have to be a graphic designer in order to do good thumbnails, right? So you can actually create thumbnails. There's a lot of tools out there that allow you to do it. I'm going to give you a couple that I've personally used, but I know there's tons out there. So just look for it, you'll be good. So let's talk about thumbnails first. But before I get into it, if you guys haven't already, I have a webinar that's going to be coming up March 23rd. So if you are listening to this content tip post March 23rd, you can still sign up because you'll get the video recording of that webinar. Now, in that webinar, I'm actually going to be talking about content. So getting the most out of your content. So how can you shoot one piece of pillar content that's 30, 40, 50 minutes long, and then get 30 to 50 pieces of micro content out of that. So I'm going to teach you why it's important to have content. I'm going to teach you the model of the macro micro content, kind of made famous by Gary Vee. And then I'm going to give you tools and train you how you can actually do it. And you don't have to be a graphic designer. You don't have to be a video editor. Maybe you're a solopreneur, you have your own business, but you can't hire a marketing person, you can't outsource it, but you know that content's important. I'm going to teach you how to make that happen. So I've got a few people already registered and signed up. So if you're listening to this before March 23rd, it's going to be live. You are going to be able to ask questions. So the benefit of being on the actual webinar live is that I will have a live Q&A at the end. So if you have questions at the end of the webinar, you can ask whatever you want and we can roll with it. So that's gonna be awesome. So it's 12 noon Central Standard Time on March 23rd. It's a Saturday. So make sure you sign up for it. It's cullermedia.com/content webinar. I'll have it linked below in the description as well so you guys can sign up for it. It's only $100. Now I know a lot of webinars you don't charge, right? Most webinars are free. The reason why I'm charging for this one is because I am not upselling you into anything. The reason why most webinars are free is because once you get towards like the last half of the webinar, they just upsell you into all their products and they just talk about that for like 30 minutes. And I'm not doing that. I have nothing else to sell you into. So $100 right up front, you're gonna get nothing but straight value the entire hour that we're on there, plus the Q&A. So if you have 50 questions, I'll stay on there for all 50 of those and answer them for you. So make sure you sign up for it one more time, cullermedia.com/content webinar. It's where you can sign up. And again, if you are listening to this post or you can't actually be on the live webinar, still purchase it because you'll get the video recording and then you'll be able to email me any questions that you have. So let's get into it today. That's my kind of upsell into that. So yeah, you guys get it. But anyway, let's talk about thumbnails for videos. Again, this is specifically for if you have a YouTube channel, which a lot of people have a YouTube channel. If you're a brand and you're not pumping out video content, I talked about in the last episode why video content is important. So hopefully that made sense to you. Hopefully you actually got the gist of it and you know that you got to be pumping out video content. It doesn't matter what it is. So there's 3 types of content you pump out. There's entertaining, educational, and informational. So pick one of those or all 3 if you're good enough. And so the next step to actually after editing your videos is thumbnails for video. So in the last episode, I talked about headliner.com, which is an awesome video editing platform. You don't have to be a video editor. You don't have to have, creative skills or whatever. It's very awesome. So go back and listen to that if you haven't. But thumbnails. So the reason why thumbnails are important, I'm going to give you just a couple reasons, then we'll get into how you can actually start making your good thumbnails. So the reason why is because I look at it as your thumbnail is kind of the screening for your video. It's almost like the trailer. Now, if you notice on YouTube now, if you scroll through it on your mobile phone, they actually start to play like little clips of the video so you can kind of see what's going to be going on. But at the end of the day, if you're scrolling through, especially if you're on your desktop, they don't actually play it unless you hover your mouse over the actual video. So what happens is that the thumbnail is the very first thing that people see if they come across, if they're searching how to wholesale in Northwest Indiana. And you have a video up there and let's say there's 60 videos on the feed, on the search results. And more times than not, the thumbnail that looks the cleanest, that has the biggest draw, the biggest magnetic draw to the person that's searching this, that's the one that they're gonna click on. Now, you obviously gotta follow up with the quality content, but that thumbnail is what makes them see your video in the first place. So it's important to make sure that you have it. I know a lot of videos that the thumbnails are just the person talking and that's it. Like, that doesn't tell you anything about it. So that's the next step, is that the thumbnails tell people a little bit about, they give a little bit about what the actual video is, right? So if your video is on how to wholesale in Northwest Indiana, maybe your thumbnail is a drawing board that has like acquire deal, and then it has whatever the next step would, acquire deal, make offer, acquire deal, find buyer, wholesale, close, like that's your processes, and that might be your thumbnail is the whiteboard of you drawing that out. But there's also a lot of other things that you could do. So if if your video is about changing brakes on a 2013 Dodge Dart, which is what I have, that's why I use the example very specific, but the thumbnail might be a picture of a Dodge Dart and the wheels and somebody under the wheel or something like that. Like, that is it's supposed to tell you what the video is about a little bit and just give you a brief synopsis of it. So it's the first thing people see. That's the kind of the screening of it. And then it tells people what it's about, and then it gives the sizzle to the steak. So the steak is the video, the content in the video, but the thumbnail is the actual sizzle. So I know if you go to YouTube, look at any single YouTube channel that has over 1 million subscribers, they're gonna have top-notch thumbnails. And the reason is because they understand why thumbnails are important. And a lot of times, if you watch like vloggers or something like that, like they'll take pictures. So if the video is eating worms, right? So more times than not, the thumbnail is going to be somebody with their mouth open like that, like they're scared, right? Like they're going to be scared on the thumbnail, and then holding worms or a plate of worms in front of them like that. Like, that just gives a brief, like, it shows that it's scary to them, and then the worms are there, so they're actually gonna be eating the worms, like that kind of thing. So it kind of gives a sizzle to the actual video. So that kind of goes along with the second point, which is it tells about the video. So that's why it's very important to make thumbnails, and end all be all, you might be thinking, well, this might take a lot of time and effort, but in actuality it doesn't, and I'm gonna tell you why. So just to give you a brief summary of why it's important, so make sure that you get thumbnails on there if you have videos on Facebook or YouTube. So what makes a good video thumbnail? I'm glad you asked the question, Josh. So what makes a good video thumbnail? There's a few things, right? So I'm gonna give you just a list. These are just kind of things I thought about. I did a little bit of research and trying to find out what other people were saying as well, but these are just things that come off the top of my head. I watch a lot of YouTube videos. Most of them are educational or informational. I do secretly watch Good Mythical Morning, and those are like my morning to get me in a good mood, like that kind of thing. So here's a couple things that I gravitate towards with thumbnails. So the first thing is it gives a sizzle to the video. So if I'm gonna watch a video, if the thumbnail is like accurate and dead on, like more times than not, I'll click on it, right? The second thing is it has branding on it. So even with vloggers, they're still gonna have the person's face. So on Good Mythical Morning, they're not really vloggers, but their brand is the Rhett and Link, right? And so you'll either see Rhett or Link's face on the actual thumbnail, and that's kind of their brand. So if you have a personal brand, then maybe it is your face, maybe it's your signature, maybe it's your logo or whatever it is. Make sure that you have some sort of branding on the thumbnail, because that's gonna draw people to it. They're gonna recognize it, and it's just gonna create a lot more of a consistency, and people are gonna recognize your videos when they pull up. So that's important to have. So especially if you have a brand, so you're actually like Coca-Cola or your Chase or your whatever, Samsung, doesn't matter. Like, you have to make sure that you have your logo, your colors, whatever it is, on your thumbnail, because that's going to draw people towards your videos even more. And then a compelling to people. It's compelling to people. That's what you want. You want it eye-catching. So the example I gave about Rhett and Link in Good Mythical Morning, if they're going to eat worms, like maybe it's them with their mouth wide open, their eyes big, like they're scared, and that draws people because they're curious. So curiosity is what you want to draw towards people. Is like, what happens? Why is his mouth wide open? Why is his eyes open? Why is there a plate of worms in front? Like, that's what you want. And one thing to understand too, I kind of didn't mention this before, but with thumbnails, people more times than not, just watch. The next time you go to YouTube and you search something, more times than not, people look at the thumbnails before they even look at the title, period. So if you search how to change my brakes on a 2013 Dodge Dart, more times than not, I'm looking at the thumbnail before I even look at the title. That's kind of like you're screening again. So that was kind of a rabbit trail, but I forgot to mention that. The last thing here is that make sure it's relevant and it's not clickbait. I don't know how many videos I've clicked on when I search something and it was just clickbait. And it literally just like, it was the most frustrating thing because I click on the video and it has nothing to do, the thumbnail has nothing to do with the video. It's just something to get me to click on it for that person to get more clicks on their YouTube video. So like, make sure it's compelling, make sure it's actually like relevant to your video so it has something to do with your video. That's important because you want people to come back to listen, especially if you consistently put videos out, you want people to come back to watch those videos. So make sure you do that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into a couple of things that I use for actually creating thumbnails. Now, me, I have templates with Photoshop that I actually use for thumbnails. That's me, that's my designer side, but I actually do get my stock images or any other elements from other websites as well. So that's the first thing. So the first thing that you want to make sure of is if you don't have stock photos are basically photos that have been taken that are of a specific item, specific person or whatever, and you can use that in your thumbnails or whatever. Now, the first thing to make sure is that with stock photos, you go to a place where you can either get them free or you have a subscription to like Adobe Stock or Envato or whatever else you're going to go after. But there's a lot of free platforms where you can get free stock photos, which is awesome for people that don't do photography and still need thumbnails. So the first place is, I'm gonna switch over to my screen here. So the first place is pablo.buffer.com. So this place is awesome. So this is actually a buffer. So if you guys have heard of Buffer and where you can schedule up your content to go out on social platforms, this is owned by Buffer. So Buffer does a great job of creating other like basically elements to what their business is. And so pablo.buffer.com is where you can get this. Now you can actually you don't even have to make the edits or anything. You could literally just download the stock photos if you want. So if you want like stars, then you can search and then it's gonna show you all these awesome images of stars. So how to create your thumbnail though. So they have, I mean, hundreds of thousands of photos here. So don't be afraid to put something. And then if you actually have your own photo, you can go here and click upload image and upload your own image to it, which is pretty cool. So let's get into actual YouTube and Facebook thumbnails. Now, as you can see here, this one right here is a 1x1, so it's square, which is ideal for Instagram, but more times than not, you're not making thumbnails for Instagram unless you're gonna put it at the very like split second of the video so that it's kind of like your thumbnail. Which is a good strategy, but let's say you want to do it for YouTube or Facebook. So now, YouTube and Facebook thumbnails, if you're uploading a normal resolution video, is 1920 by 1080, which is a number that you don't have to worry about because pablo.buffer.com actually creates that dimension for you. Now, obviously, if you need to know it, then you can just go Google YouTube thumbnail size or whatever, right? So that's it. So you're just gonna click on here. I know that there's not a YouTube logo here, but it's still the same thing. So Facebook or Twitter, I don't know why they have Twitter up there, but you click on that. So then you can see here, you got a box for text. Now you can actually, so let me just say here, I'm gonna pick this image, right? So now you can actually reposition it. So you can zoom in on it as far as you want. So I'm gonna click done. And then I can actually change they have very small selection, but they have a small selection of filters. So if you want none, you want it to still look that same, or you want grayscale, or you want blue tint, whatever you want. That was actually green tint, but let's do grayscale, right? Because I like grayscale. So now you go down here, you can actually see text. So you'll get header, which is a little bit larger text body, and then caption is a little bit smaller, so body's in the middle. And then you can add quotes, so you can actually this is actually an interesting feature because, so if you click body and then you add quotes, it'll actually add little quotes for you, which I'm sure like thousands of people have used this, so I don't really recommend it, but it might be nice, right? So that's pretty cool. So then you can take this and then double click on this and then add your own things. So how to create video thumbnails. And then you can change the font. So they actually have a pretty decent selection of fonts there. And then you can make it bold, you can italicize it, you can make it a little bit bigger. So they have like 3 different sizes. You can center it, left alignment, right alignment. You can change the color of it. So that's pretty cool. So this is obviously not what I'm gonna go with, But the last thing that's awesome is that you can actually insert your logo or a graphic. So make sure that your logo, again, is in PNG. So in the first video, I talked about watermarking your content, and make sure that your logo is a PNG. So that means it's a transparent background. So you want to make sure of that. So you can insert or add a logo. So let's just say I'm going to go over to my logo here. Let me see here. So Color Media. And boom, there it is right there. So I should upload the white one, but you get the point. So you can make sure, you can make the size a little bit bigger. You can make the radius a little weirder, like I don't know what that would be for. Hide it, and then that's pretty much it. So it's pretty cool. Then once you're done with that, now you're gonna share and download. So I don't recommend downloading or sharing it to directly the platforms, but if you want, you can. But you see here Buffer, so if you use Buffer, you can buffer it straight to Buffer, which is cool. Or you can just download the image and then it'll download to your desktop. So that is awesome. So I use this actually a lot. So if you guys follow my personal brand, Josh Color, all my thumbnails come from pablo.buffer.com. Awesome, right? So the next tool that I have is actually a decent one as well. And if you like Adobe Spark, which I've talked about in previous episodes, is a very good platform for thumbnails too. They give you a little bit more options when you're wanting to actually create like creative thumbnails. So if you want to put a little more design, so cooler fonts or different colors and stuff like that, Adobe Spark has a very good selection of what you can make for thumbnails. But then obviously there's other platforms that you can make thumbnails with, which, you know, just Google it. It's worth a Google, right? So that's all I got for you guys today. So hopefully that made sense and brought value. And if it did, make sure you give it a big thumbs up and share it around. Now, these videos are gonna be coming out once a week, so be on the lookout for them. And I'm just gonna be bringing you value. So just content tips, content tip of the week. Today is video thumbnails. Last week was a great video editor called Headliner.app. And then before that was branding your content. So just a little bit of information for you. So thumbnails, make them happen, especially if you have a YouTube channel or a Facebook page that you put a lot of videos out. Make them consistent and you'll see good results. So that's what I got for you guys today. Thank you for joining me today, and I'll catch you next week on the content tip of the week.